Hey, Sherman class. We just finished predicting if we think Sophie is going to get eaten or if she escapes. How did she escape? Let's find out. He began raising it in a long journey to his mouth, some 50 feet in the air. Sophie wanted to scream, "Don't!" But that would have been even more certain death. Crouching among the slimy seeds, she felt herself being lifted up, up, and up. Suddenly, there was a crunch as the blood bottler bit off a huge chunk of the end. Sophie saw his yellow teeth clamping down together a few inches from her head. Then there was utter darkness. She was in his mouth. She caught a whiff of the evil-smelling breath. It stank of bad meat. She waited for the teeth to go crunch once more. She prayed that this would be a quick kill. "Ew!" roared the blood bottler. "A witch, eek!" And then he spat. All of the great lumps of snozcumbers that were in his mouth, as well as Sophie herself, went shooting out across the cave. If Sophie had struck the stony wall of the cave, she would most certainly have been killed. Instead, she hit the soft folds of the BFG's black cloak hanging against the wall. She dropped to the ground, half stunned. She crawled underneath the hem of the cloak, and there she crouched. "You little swine boogler," roared the bloodler. "You little pig swiller." He rushed at the BFG and smashed what was left of the snozcumber over his head. Fragments of the filthy vegetables splashed all over the cave. "You is not loving it?" the BFG asked innocently, rubbing his head. "Loving it," yelled the blood bottler. "That is the most disgusting taste that has ever touched my teeth. You must be booglers to be swallowing slime like that. Every night you could be galloping off happy as a hamburger and gobbling juicy human beings." "Eating human beings is wrong and evil," the BFG said. "It is guzzly and glumptuous," shouted the blood bottler. "And tonight I is galloping off to Chile to swabble a few human chili beans. Is you wishing to know why I choose Chile?" "I is not wishing to know anything," the BFG said, very dignified. "I is choosing Chile," the blood bottler said, "because I is fed up with the taste of Eskimos. It is important that I have plenty of cold eats in this scuttling hot weather. And the next coldest thing next to Eskimos is a chili bean. Human beings from Chile is very chilly." "Horrible," the BFG said. "You ought to be ashamed. Other giants is all saying they is wanting to gallop off to England tonight to guzzle school children." Here's a picture. "I is very fond indeed of English school children. They is nice, icky booty flavor. Perhaps I will change my mind and go to England with them." "You is disgusting," the BFG said. "And you is an insult to the giant people," shouted the blood bottler. "You is not fit to be a giant. You is a squeaky little squiddler. You is a pibble little pipsqueak. You is a cream puff nut." With that, the horrible blood-bottling giant strode out of the cave. The BFG ran to the cave entrance and quickly rolled the stone back in place. "Sophie," he whispered. "Sophie, where is you, Sophie?" Sophie emerged from under the hem of the black cloak. "I'm here," she said. The BFG picked her up and held her tenderly in the palm of his hand. "Oh, I am so happy to be finding you all in one lump," he said. "I was in his mouth," Sophie said. "You was what?" cried the BFG. Sophie told him what happened. "And there I was telling him to eat the filthsome snozcumber, and you was the whole time inside it?" the BFG cried. "Not much fun," Sophie said. "Just look at you, you poor little child," cried the BFG. "You is all covered in snozcumber and giant spit." He set out cleaning her up as best he could. I is hating those other giants more than ever now, he said. You know what I should like? What? Sophie said. I should like to find a way of disappointing them, every single one of them. I'd be glad to help you, Sophie said. Let me see if I can think of a way of doing it. Did you guess what would happen? We knew Sophie would be saved, right? But did you guess that the huge giant would actually put her in her mouth? In his mouth? Oh, what would you feel like if you were in the giant's mouth? Draw a picture of what would happen if it were you.